Hello, I'm Bret and you're watching The Defining Moment for Creating the Culture of Conscience. Our guest today is Carrie Donahue. Carrie Donahue is the author of Love, Marriage, and Relationships. Carrie has a wide range of experience as a health professional, including helping couples with infertility and pregnancy. She spent years listening to doctors, counselors, and therapists to learn what works in relationships and how to support singles in preparing for and couples in creating passionate, healthy, lifelong marriages. She and her husband Glenn have been married for 18 years and they're raising 3 daughters. Carrie Donahue, welcome back to The Defining Moment. It's really a pleasure to have you here today in our studio.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming. Our topic today is love, romance, and passion in marriage. And I'd like to begin by inviting you to share a defining moment from your own life.
Okay. My defining moment was when I met my husband. And we went out on our first date. He was my next door neighbor. I was doing fashion shows, and the girls were all out on my balcony, and they were looking next door. So I was wondering what they were all giggling about. So I went out there, and I saw my neighbor. He was on the phone. So I told all the girls, come back in here and shh, be real quiet. So later, he came over the next day, and he had asked me, who were all those beautiful girls and the limo that was out in the front? And I said, well, I do fashion shows, and they were my models. So he proceeded to ask me out. So we went out, and our first date was fabulous. It was on the water, overlooking the bay, good conversation, and I didn't love him right away, but I really enjoyed him, his personality. So we had a great time. The next date was opposite, very different. We were in a bar, he was smoking, he was drinking, and I couldn't even talk to him, I was yelling. So I had told him, well, I'm not going to go out with you anymore. This will be our last date. And he said, well, why? And I said, you smoke, you drink, and I hate bars. So he told me he was going to quit. And I thought, oh, right. But come to find out, he did quit. He quit smoking. Of course, we don't go to bars, or he doesn't go to bars, but we go have a social drink. But I remember when he used to come over to my house, he used to put his feet up on the table, and he'd come in my home with a 6-pack. So I used to tell him, get your feet off the table and get rid of the 6-pack. But when I told him that, he was working on it, and he said he was going to quit. So he did quit smoking. He gradually quit the drinking. It's now just down to a casual weekend, Friday, Monday night football, social drink. And he's a loving husband. And if I didn't give him the second chance by going on a second date or letting him stay in my life, I wouldn't have known that he was able to quit smoking, able to quit drinking for himself. Not for me, but he did it for himself. And we're happily married. Every day gets better.
Okay, that's a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing your defining moment. What is unique about the love shared between husband and wife?
I think it's very personal when a husband and wife give each other attention. We both need attention. He needs attention. Women need attention. And it's good when there's a balance. I stroke your back, you stroke mine. But men need more attention than women, because men have the reputation of finding attention if they're not getting it at home. Women are home raising kids. They're not thinking of going out. They don't have secretaries. See, if you have a good, healthy relationship, a loving relationship, then there is no reason to go out. of the relationship looking for attention. So I think it's all based at the home, giving each other the attention that you need, which is required. Some men need more attention, some women need more attention, but you need to balance it out. I like to just make sure my I rub his back. I mean, you could do it in front of the kids. You know, you don't have to be on a night where the kids are gone. You can give him attention sitting next to him on the couch, rubbing his back or his feet. A husband and wife have a connection, and they know one another and what one another need from each other. And I think my husband and I have a good connection on that. We're both on the same page. And most of the time, you know, I don't always need to say what I'm thinking, and I think he reads into it. And I already know what he's thinking most of the time, and I don't need to read into it. But we have just a connection. He's always giving me, telling me that he loves me. He's always showing his love. He touches, he hugs, he holds my hand. And I always can read into what he's thinking. It's something that you have that is special, and only you and your husband can read. So it's only between you and your husband. I can have my husband's brother be over, and I love him dearly, but the love that I show and the affection that I show to my husband is a greater difference than his brother.
Okay, good. What's involved in successfully nurturing lasting conjugal love on a daily basis for years at a time, even decades at a time?
I know my husband is a very loving, very devoted husband. And a lot of his friends are good guys too, most of them. Funny and a lot of fun. And the things that my husband does to show his love for me is like he gives me little surprises. Under the pillow there'll be a surprise, or flowers or cards. And he shows his appreciation to me quite often. He's constantly telling me he loves me. And sometimes he says, "Are you getting tired of hearing me say that?" And I'll say, "No, I will never get tired of hearing you say that," you know, because it's reassuring to me, and it gives me self-confidence, and it makes me want to do things better for him. So when he shows me the love and attention, then I want to do more for him. But we do have the connection. We have a spiritual connection and a love connection. We like to go for walks. We complement each other. And he's a good person. He's got a good heart. He's giving. He likes to buy me little things all the time. He makes sure that I'm happy. And we have date night. So that's something that's very special. I really enjoy our date nights. We usually try and make it once a week. And it's a dinner and a movie. We get to really get away from the kids and really one-on-one keep communication open. And he can tell me how he's feeling, I can tell him how I'm feeling, and usually pretty much of the time we're both on the same page.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Distinguish for our viewers love and romance and their vital role in any enduring marriage.
Well, I think love is just love being with the person, and you have a love for that person. And it's just the word love. I love my husband. I love being together with him. He makes me feel good. And I accept him the way he is. I feel love is accepting people how they are, not what you want them to be. And so I feel he feels the same way about me. He accepts the way I am. And he always tells me I'm beautiful. Sometimes in the morning I don't look so beautiful, but I know he means it. But I think that's a good definition of love.
And good. And romance?
And romance is more of a passionate togetherness and taking you somewhere special and being one-on-one with just you and saying all the right things and being in a more excited era and more of an exciting time and what you guys are sharing. If he isn't very romantic, then you need to take the role. You need to start it. You need to start putting flowers out for yourself on the table, candlelights. And when he sees that's what you like, then hopefully he will learn from it. So not always will a guy come out and be this way. Not a lot of guys have that in them. So you have to communicate and say what you like. And maybe even do it once or twice and say, I really enjoy sitting by the fireplace with candles on the sides or a nice cocoa or wine by the fireplace. So you have to kind of demonstrate it sometimes. Guys don't always take it in. They don't know how to be passionate. They only want one thing and they want to get there fast. Sometimes women like the passion, so you have to kind of display it. You kind of have to show them how to be passionate.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Why is passion so vital in the love relationship, and how can couples go about rekindling it when it isn't present?
Well, this is what happens when you're married at 20. You get burned out. Everybody gets burned out after so many years of the same old, same old. So you have to do different things. What do you both like doing? That's what you need to do. To keep the light and the passion, then change some things around and do some different things, but you have to display it. You have to show it. You have to let them know, let's work on this. I'm bored of this. I'm tired of this. Let's do this. Let's do it differently. Maybe read a very romantic book together. That's kind of hard to get a guy to read a romantic book, but maybe you can talk about it to him. What happened in the moment? But keeping a man to keep the excitement in life. We get bored and want to go different ways. Keeping it exciting, there are things that you can do.
Such as?
Well, there are videos that are out. Those are called better sex videos. And I asked my minister at my church, I said, is it okay for me to talk about this in my book? And he says, oh, we sell them tapes like that in our church. He says, yes, you can do that. But what's good about these tapes is you can learn them in the privacy of your own home. These are put together by doctors and counselors and therapists that know what works for couples. But there's many, many ways, a lot of teaching, a lot of tapes on this subject. You can get them in your bookstores and you can read about them. But this gives you so much more experience. Some things you might not like, some things you will like, some things are different. You need to try things. And a lot of times girls won't say, the woman won't say to the guy what she likes. But there in a tape, it'll say it. So it'll be easier for her to say, oh, that's good. I like that. Or for a guy, he might not know how to say to her, I like this. Well, these are why these tapes are put together for couples, married couples, to be able to enjoy in the privacy of their own home.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you so much. And what do you consider to be the key ingredients of great married sex?
Different sex, new sex, pleasing sex, passionate sex. Not just jumping into sex, working up to it. Some women like just being stroked can get excited. Some women, it takes more to get them excited. But to keep passion and excitement in your relationship, it takes more than just jumping in there and going for it. You need to work up to it with foreplay. People are forgetting about foreplay, but that is a crucial role in good sex and higher libido for both men and women. And these tapes also talk about that. I know sometimes just changing your room around or changing your comforter, different colors, paint your walls. I mean, after 20 years, you know, you want to keep your husband's eyes on you. When he leaves the house in the morning, you want him to be thinking about you. So if you're getting tired of the wallpaper, you're getting tired of the color of your room, just make a few changes. Put a different picture up in the wall. But little changes in your room can help.
Okay, great. And our last question I have is, why is it so important to discover the secrets to satisfying the desires of your spouse in a way that is mutually fulfilling?
Well, this is the number one on the top of your list, most important thing I could teach you today. Satisfying your husband. Women aren't always need to be satisfied. Just the love and attention. That's all she needs. Men need to be satisfied. If they are not satisfied in the home, they will seek prostitution, and you read about it all the time. So, if your husband isn't happy with what you are doing, you need to find out what is going to give him the most satisfying sex or fulfillment he can have. Pleasures. So you need to know what they are. And the way to find out is if it looks like he is a little bored with the situation, or if he's not coming home and you see that he's spending more time out with the guys, coming home later, or not giving you as much sex at night. That may be because he's not enjoying it as much. Guys will get it if they need it. And you need to know taking care of your husband 4 or 5 times a week, making sure that he is satisfied, sexually satisfied.
Now, I want to make sure that you're not downplaying what women need, because you kind of said, well, they just need to be, show them a little bit of attention, that's it.
Yeah,
I think there's more to it than that. So say more about what a man should be thinking about, or what kind of research about his own wife. I mean, how what in terms of how important is that?
Right. Well, you know what, and it's communication, because women have to say what they're thinking, what feels good, what they want, what they need, because men don't always think that way. They just want to have sex a lot of times and wham bam, thank you ma'am. But sometimes women need to be caressed and stroked and work up to it so they can have enjoyment too. So it goes both ways. But what I'm saying is women don't need, like men need, every single night. But once in a while, it's nice to take your time and appreciate your wife and let her know she's appreciated. And take your time with her and stroking up to her feet, up to her thigh, and then maybe around her neck. I mean, that is so passionate when guys take their time. It could start while you're doing dinner, when they're standing behind you, a couple kisses behind your neck. It could start when you're washing dishes before bedtime. It takes time to work up to it.
Yeah, so in that sense, I've heard women are like more like crock pots in terms of working their way up, and men are more like microwave ovens. So it's very fast, but a
Good way
woman
of
wants
saying it.
to spend more time,
That's
right?
a good way of saying it.
Yeah. So anything else about that?
Just make sure that you're both satisfied.
Anything else that you didn't mention that you want to add?
Being exciting, making it exciting is important too. Guys aren't ready to retire to the couch. A lot of guys, they're so much testosterone and they're just so outgoing, and they're fiddling with their cars, and they're fiddling with their airplanes that they made, and they're surfing, and they're whatever it is. But a woman could sit and watch a good movie. Well, guys aren't ready to do that. So entertaining each other, keeping yourself on date nights, going out doing things once or twice a week, just being involved with each other's lives. Don't just kick it to the side and say, I'm comfortable. Because being too comfortable sometimes catches you off guard. So just make sure that you enjoy each other and you're communicating to each other and keeping it an open relationship in that way, that you can say how you feel and what you want, and he can say what he feels and what he wants. Being honest with each other and keeping it exciting, keeping things going on, like keep going out with your friends, have dinner engagements. Socializing with other people is healthy for a marriage, not just always in it to yourself, but being in, with other people in a circulation of a social environment is healthy for a relationship. So keep that up. Travel together, do things fun, on the edge a little bit. I didn't like water, I didn't like river rafting, but I did it because I knew my husband likes to do that. We travel every year with all the kids, and I don't like flying, but I've gotten used to doing it because he wants to be here. He wants to go travel to here, to here, to here. So I make myself do that. But once I'm there, it's exciting. And we have a great life because we share all these exciting things. And then we can go back and tell other people about all the exciting things that we did together. So I think keeping excitement in your life. I knew my next door neighbor. She and her husband would always throw the biggest party for each other. Who can throw the biggest party? He had a big boat, and everybody was on the boat. And when she pulled up on the gondola with him, she thought it was just a gondola ride. They pulled up and they threw the banner over the side of the boat, and it said, "Happy 40th birthday." And then I thought, wow, how are you going to top that? Well, she had him fly out of an airplane. What is that? The hang gliding or the parasailing, whatever that thing is, where they push you out of the airplane. That was his surprise. You don't have to be so extravagant to have all these exciting things in your life, because then you're competing. So you want to make sure that we're down to earth, that it's not too emotional, too exhilarating. I mean, you know, keep it down to earth, because then you're going, God, that was too good, and I can't do better than that. Then you get to this, hers was better than mine, and then that probably causes
it's out of control.
It gets out of control, right?
Okay. So on that note, Carrie Donahue, I want to thank you so much for having been our guest today on The Defining Moment.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
You've been watching The Defining Moment for creating a culture of conscience. You can find us on the internet at www.definingmoment.tv. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.